Hi, I'm Emily. I am part of the launch team here at Cities Church Regina, and I have been part of it since day one, the very first launch party here in Regina this past summer. I didn't find God until I was in my 30s. I suffered my whole life from anxiety, and in my early 30s, it really came to a head. I was really struggling with having a full-time job, being a mom, a new wife, as well as owning my own business. At that time, I had tried going to the doctor, I went and saw a therapist, I was meditating, I was medicated, and I was also taking a lot of herbal supplements to try to cope and try to have my anxiety tempered so that I could function in day-to-day life. And some of it worked a little bit, but not really. And it got to the point where it was hard for me to leave the house. It was hard for me to drive and live just a regular, normal life. Then one day in 2024, I had just reached my limit and kind of broke down and basically cried out to God, just saying, please help me. Please help me feel normal. Please help me get back to my old self. And in that moment, I finally felt just a brief moment of peace. And that was really the beginning of my relationship with God and my journey here to Cities Church. After familiarizing myself with some stories in the Bible, I started going online and watching sermons online, watching podcasts that were Christian. I started listening to some Christian music, and slowly over the months, I really found myself developing a stronger relationship with God, and I was ready to jump in with 2 feet. So I did what any millennial would do. I went on Google and started looking at reviews of local churches. And then one day I was cruising Facebook and Cities Church popped up. What I loved about the messaging from Cities Church was they were new to Regina. There was no pressure of having a community that was already established and I was the new person. This was a whole group of people that were coming together for the first time. Leading up to the first launch party, I was pretty nervous, and I convinced my husband to come with me as backup because I was not sure what to expect, and I never ever had been to church before. But walking up to the launch party for the very first time, I saw Pastor Ben standing out front with a big sign that said, "Best day ever." And as soon as I went and talked to him and saw the big smile on his face, holding that sign, all of my anxiety and my nerves just kind of washed away, and just, it felt like we were so welcome and ready to make some new friends. So now I was reading my Bible, I was praying daily, and I was finally part of a church community. We would get together weekly, whether it was just for some community fun or to have Bible study. And one day, he was talking about baptism. And once I started to learn about baptism, I knew that this was something that was the next step in my life. This was something that I wanted to do to become closer to God and really show the world that I was ready to have God in my life forever. So then, on December 13th, in front of my friends and my family and my new Cities Church family, I was baptized, and I publicly declared that I now follow Jesus. Since being baptized, I have continued reading my Bible. I've been talking to God every day and sharing my journey more with my network. What I am noticing is my reaction to situations, how I perceive certain things in my day, has started to shift a little bit as my relationship with Jesus continues to grow. I went from feeling anxious, nervous, burnt out, overwhelmed, just totally at the end of my rope, to finding some peace, love, and joy. One of the best decisions I ever made was coming to church the very first time. And I promise that if you let him, Jesus will change your life too.